up, everybody? How is everybody doing? Thank you for joining me. If you're here live, if you're catching up here on the replay, either way, it's all good, rather. Thanks for hanging out. Glad you're joining me. It's, Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm trying to go live for just a quick stream here, part of the quick market update series, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, top altcoins. I'm, of course, Big Cheds from Twitter. I've published now 4 books. My newest book just came out, The Trading Journal. I'm super proud of it. I'm super excited. You can catch it on Amazon Kindle, hardcover and paperback format. If you've already bought it, let me know. Let me know what you think about it. I'm waiting for some more reviews. I got 1 review. I'd like to see some more. Since I've got that new book coming out, I'm making my 3rd book free, right? I've already got free versions of books 1 and 2. Check out the Trading Quotes playlist. If you're just getting started, right? Go to the Masterclass tutorial playlist. I teach classical charting and Japanese candlestick theory. I take professional technical analysis. I try to simplify it for you. So it's a little bit easier to digest and understand. And I do these quick updates here on YouTube 3 days a week. Of course, Bitcoin Live. I'm a founding analyst. For 7 years, I've been doing a twice a week full market report every Wednesday, Sunday night, no matter what. Best team in the world that studies crypto. So consider checking that out. While we're filling up the room, while we're getting started, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how you're doing. Send me a comment and prepare a question for the room. I'd love... You folks always deliver, so thank you. But I'd love some good questions, trading questions. How do I deal with this? What do you think about that chart? And while we're getting started and filling up the room and you're getting your questions ready, let me just riff a little bit. There's not a ton going on with Bitcoin. We see a pretty clear falling channel here on the daily chart with a series of lower highs. At some point, we'll be looking to see this descending supply trend break. We had a period of really just the tightest Bollinger Band since August of 2023 with this sideways range leading to the price compression. Had the initial range low loss, bounced back into the range, and underside retest and rejection just at the loss support from the end of this consolidation range. If we kind of zoom in a little bit, on the daily chart, it was really tight here. All these doji and these spinning tops, sideways small bodies. So we had the bounce with the strategic reserve listing, and it was rejected there. So we're very much marking this out as an important level to be recaptured for bulls. And we're kind of just, we're churning around right at the daily MA200, right? It's a little bit of a mixed picture on the daily. The weekly still looks really good. Even though we have the clear loss of range lows on the weekly and the price distance in between the prior range and the one we just broke down from, we're still above the MA50, which is important, the equal weighted simple moving average, 50 period. We know how important a role that played in giving us a warning sign of the 2021 top. We started to have our first closes below in December, and I covered that a lot. Not necessarily here. I did here on the Masterclasses, but definitely on Twitter and Bitcoin Live. And so we're watching that. So we have still a little bit of room to go. Haven't quite tested it yet, but the main issue is momentum on the failed hold here, the breakdown of the local range support. And I still do believe it's highly likely that we make our way to like 72 to 74K. And that's still my base case. The daily chart's muddled, 4-hour chopping around. People have been trying to, trying to go long on 84.5 and they're getting chopped out. It's not a very clear trade setup in my view, given the layered or structured resistance just above. I think you want to wait for a lot more strength and clarity. I think really a recapture of 94.5, but people going long here have been chopped around, chopped out. And generally speaking, we're trying to stair step. You can still very much visualize this as doing that, stair stepping, establishing a range high, breaking it and retesting it. It's just really choppy, sloppy here. I don't have a ton of confidence in the bulls to continue because of just the overhead momentum that I still believe is likely to push us back towards 72K. And that's the case. It's still the case, really from the last update, and that's still my base view for now. But I'm ready to adapt if we get some new information. So Ethereum is quite weak. I think you'd want to view any kind of a price movement up to and below 2150 as an underside retest. And you would look to probably take a short on that, on a retest of lost support from underneath. You can see it on the weekly time frame. It's kind of a big blow to the momentum of the trend to have been unable to hold here at 2100. We talked about the bull break of the ascending triangle back in November of 2023, and an attempted head and shoulders continuation here, right shoulder failure, follow through from that range peak. We see that follow through, and multiple throwbacks to the 2150 level. First one held, this one did not, and now we're an underside, of that 2150 level on Ethereum. And Ethereum BTC just looks terrible. Continued bleed, versus Bitcoin. And it's been an interesting market. People have been wanting to call top and dominance. We'll pull it up just for fun, just for fun. We're hanging out here together, right? Thank you everybody for chilling here with me. So, people have been calling top in this. I think they want it to top out because they want Ethereum to run and they want their alts, all their bags to run, quote unquote. But it's been an interesting environment in altcoins for the last 6 months with memes and all these other crazy stuff. If you just played kind of the mainstream stuff, you've done pretty well playing good charts and riding positions, and then kind of exiting. Even with Sui did well until it broke down. HBAR did pretty good until it started to break down. XRP has been, that's XPR, pardon me. XRP has been pretty strong, still looks nice, consolidating. Solana had its moments, failed to hold at 215, then 185, then 165. And now we're kind of dribbling around towards range lows. The issue on Solana, again, is the weekly MA50. And we, first loss here, and it's a rollover from that. That's definitely, evidence of the weakening trend in the high time frame, and that's what we don't want to see on Bitcoin. If kind of anything I just said doesn't make sense, you really want to watch the Masterclass tutorial. I did CMT1. I've read textbooks in both Eastern and Western TA, and I really kind of roll it all into this playlist. It's going to help you a lot. To take your trading to the next level. And of course, the trading journal. This is essentially, it's a how-to guide for trading. As Trading Woods in part 2, I teach you, let's take a look at it just real quick. I teach you essentially, there you go, why you should use a trading journal. Here's the table of contents. This is the Kindle version. Why you need a trading journal, what goes in it, thesis, stop loss, profit-taking plan, emotional mindfulness. I talk a lot about being aware of your emotions as you're entering the trade and as you're exiting, and using that to grow. I mean, you can't, every time you lose a trade, there's some value left, right? The residue of any failed trade is a lesson yet to be learned. And so at the beginning of the book, I talk about why you want to use a trading journal, and then what goes into the journal, the thesis. And the whole point is, my whole thesis is why I'm entering. So like, for example, like Bitcoin, if it recaptured like 94.5, you could take a very clear long there, given the price has said this is a level to watch, where we had the local range breakdown, the bounce and rejection at that level. So you could go long and at 94.5 because it's recaptured lost support, and if your idea fails, if it gets back below that level. It's one of those things where you define your thesis, and then so you can know like when it fails. So I talk about different theses, trading thesis, what it means. Later in the book, I talk about the stop loss when each of these trade ideas fail. And then I go through and I have sample trading journal entries using each of these techniques. And I kind of go through, what it would mean. And so I'm really proud of this book. You would definitely want to check that out. So let's check in with the chat room. I want to see how everybody's doing. If you haven't commented yet, I'd love to hear a comment from you, how you're feeling, what you think about the market, how you found the channel, even, any of that stuff. If you've seen the book, if you read the book, let me know. I want to hear that. So, what's up, Bilal? Nice to see you, man. Always great to see you, Bilal. M. Gross and Drew and Carlos and Peter. I see some nice questions. I'm going to take a look here. Stanley, Matthias, and Brandon and Broputs. What's up, everybody? So what do you make of this? So, M. Gross, what do you make in the recent move in gold? Very strong uptrend. I participated in the spaces, and I didn't really do any FA talk because I don't know anything, but I listened to a lot of FA talk. about that it's just been a thing where I guess it's a safe haven asset, and it's one of those things where people think the economy is going to contract. I guess people go into gold. I don't really know. It's not really my thing to kind of like ask why. I honestly don't care why things move. I found that it will drive you crazy because if you think, oh, I need to know why it moves, you can try to predict another move, but it really doesn't work that way. Most of the time, the market's kind of irrational, and it's more just momentum and sentiment, supply and demand, and the whole fundamentals. I find, it's like a need to explain a move after it happened. There's no point; it already happened. And so, what does it matter? Is it holding support? Is it challenging resistance? What's the strength of the trend? Is the trend still intact? That's kind of my approach. So I don't necessarily know why it's moving. I don't necessarily care that much. It's a beautiful chart. It's super strong. I don't see any real warning signs. I think you'd want to certainly look to play a throwback to 29 to 29.50 range. And that would be appealing for a long trade. Remember, if you want to go long in something, right, you don't want to find a downtrend and try to nail the bottom. That's a great way to zero out your portfolio. What you want to do is find an uptrend that just dipped and take advantage of that movement against the trend. Carlos says, hey, Cheds, thanks as always, free wisdom. Thank you. And thank you for showing up, folks. The more you show up, the more I'll do these videos. When I got started, people helped me out. And so most of what I do now is free. I love creating content, tweeting videos and stuff. So thank you for showing up. Any thought in the silver chart? Yeah, I was looking at it earlier. It's just not as strong as Bitcoin. I'm sorry. And not as strong as gold, and notably below the prior high here. So we shall see. It's still a nice little trend here on the daily chart, price above the MA200. What's up, Andy? How you doing? So Drew asks, Cheds, why do you think Ethereum is lagging by Bitcoin so much? Why? It sucks. It's just because there's just so, I think in the past when you had fewer things for people to play, everyone would play like altcoins or altcoins on Ethereum. I don't know. I don't know if it has something to do with the shift over to proof of work or rather proof of stake. I just know that I have been skeptical that it was going to start to outperform for a while. I've been watching this, and I've been basically Bitcoin Live, especially talking about, hey, like it doesn't look like there's a bottom yet. And there's been several times in here where people were calling bottom, and for me, I needed more. I waited for more, and it never came. Because it's such a strong and controlled downtrend. So I don't know why. For me, it's just it hasn't happened yet, and it just shows that Bitcoin's trend has been steady, and for whatever reason, Ethereum has not been able to get off the mat. But I know people want this to bottom because most people just don't even hold Bitcoin. They're just they're playing fart coin and boob coin or whatever, and so they want it to be alt season. They want everything to go up. And I think you got to be more selective and just play good charts. Okay. Let's see here. Peter, how's it going? Good morning from Australia. Thank you, Ibrahim. I talked about XRP briefly. I like the chart, so I've covered that one. Summer. Peter said, read Ched's books. Thanks, Peter. All moving averages rolling over in Ethereum. That is true. Hey, Ched's, love you, bro. Maybe you want to short API 3. What's up, Stanley? What is API 3? API 3? And let's go to crypto. API 3. I don't know that I've even heard of this one, but it's on Binance. Whoa. Yeah, this is a short setup. This is a perfect example of a short setup. You have a really bad chart that has just had a mega bounce, 55%, and it's right into lost support. So what I would do in this situation is I would pick maybe like $1.25. I'd wait for an upthrust, which would mean I'd wait for the price to retrace a little bit, maybe back below this 125 level right here. So I'd wait for it to fail a little bit, and then I'd take the short on the loss of 125, viewing that as an upthrust, as a bounce into lost support. This is actually quite a textbook short setup, in fact. You don't want to hold forever, certainly. If you take, and you wouldn't trigger preemptively. I wouldn't trigger my short here. I'd trigger when it drops a little bit lower, kind of wait for it. It's still consolidating. It's got a lot of, it's the 4-hour candle is completely above the upper Bollinger. So it's a little bit overextended, and you wait for it to drop a little bit. You wait for it to drop below your trigger level. I think it would be quite reasonable to use that 125 range, $1.25 range, essentially as my trigger. So if it dropped below that, I'd trigger a short, and then I'd have my stop loss like around like $1.30, something $1.30, $1.32 maybe. And that's how it would make sense to structure that trade. So this is a great point. It's a great idea. And this is the whole point. If you want to short something, you want to short a downtrend that just bounced, right? Because this bounce here, this bounce is nice, great, but it's a move against the trend, right? And most of the time, trends will tend to continue. So you want to be skeptical here. Let me take a quick sip of coffee. So great question so far. Brandon wants to know, Cheds, what's a way to factor both time and price to make the call on a level lost or hold? It's a great question. So in classical charting, you have options, because you could use, when would I trigger on 125, right? I could trigger on an inter-candle basis as soon as the price drops below. I could trigger on a simple 1 hour candle close or 3 hour candle close, or maybe even a couple 4 hour candle closes, or a daily. And it's a question of how conservative you are with your risk. So a very conservative move here would say, I'm not going to trigger my upthrust thesis until we daily close below 125, right? So that would be one way to do it. And it also has to do with a lot you want to think about, not just your risk tolerance style, but can you manage the trade? If you've got a family, you've got a day job, you've got stuff where you can't just watch all day, then you're going to need to wait for maybe like a daily candle close, or at least maybe 2 or 3 4-hour candle closes, something like that. So you need to find, it's a great question. You need to find something that fits your style. Let's see here. What is going on? Can you use your phone for a trading journal? Is it better handwritten? I think either are fine. I think as long as you do it, because the thing about a trading journal, when you start using a trading journal and you know that I need to, like later when this trade is closed, I'm going to have to write down what happened. You kind of are going to be accountable to yourself. So what's going to happen is you start to train yourself to be more aware of what you're thinking and you're feeling. You become more careful, be more methodical. If you're just trading and lose, especially if you're losing money, I mean, if you're making money, fine. You don't need to improve. Great. I mean, you're already a wizard. You want to give me lessons. I'll take them, right? But if you're struggling and you're not doing anything to fix that, you're just trying again without like recording things. It's trial and error. This worked. This didn't work. I was feeling this way. If you read the journal, if you read the book that I just wrote, I have a thing where it's like, one of them is like, I'm excited, but I don't think it's a problem. And then it's like, yeah, that was a problem. I was excited. Like, you have to be aware of your emotions. And so, but just by using a journal, whether you write it in your phone or you write it down, you're training yourself to be more accountable and more mindful. And I think that's an important step in the evolution of any trader. When to buy Bitcoin, says J. Kim. I guess the best time was 10 years ago, right? And the second best time is now. Isn't that what they say? I think it's going to depend. The answer depends on what you're trying to do, J. Kim. Are you accumulating? Then you can just buy some every week. You dollar cost average. You're not trading. You're buying it with the belief it's going to be higher in the future. You believe in the scarcity of it, and it's more part of, it's more part of like the financial system. Then that's fine. But if you're trading it, you have to give yourself something to work with. I wouldn't play here in the middle of the channel. I mean, it dropped to 72K. Would be a very appealing level to play on a high time frame throwback, and you can manage your risk. Like, you want to see it hold maybe 70K, and below that you'd start to kind of reduce the position and wait and see what happens. So for me personally, I would wait either for it to recapture 94.5 or drop back to 72. I don't think you need to mess around here in the middle of the channel. I think you should be cautious given the momentum follow through on the failed hold here, and I think there's still some momentum unwinding. So I'd be careful just jumping in. You're welcome, Stanley, and great questions from everybody so far. Matthias, what do you think of Tau? Shall I take a look at Tau? I don't think I've looked at this one in a little while. Let's take a look at TAO. Yeah, I don't like it. It's a bad chart. I don't know that we should be playing this chart or watching it. You can delete this one from the watch list, I think. Certainly if this bear pennant completes. It's flirting with the bear pennant here. move down, break down. It's a downtrend. This is just a bad chart. I would not be in this. I would not want to be holding it. I would not want to be looking to go long in it. It's an ugly chart. If it bounced, maybe you can take a short at like 310, 315. Okay. But I don't like the chart. Cheds, Car Emotions says, and folks, thanks for showing up. Hit like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm going to try to keep doing these 3 days a week. And you showing up gives me momentum and motivation to keep doing that. Karma, do you still see SOL in an uptrend which has dipped? That's tough. No, because I've talked about the higher time frame weakening. Even though it's price above a rising MA200, which is by definition an uptrend, there is strong evidence of weakening trend vis-a-vis the loss of the MA50 and the layered levels, chart breakdown levels, inability to hold at 215, inability to hold at 185, and the bounce and recent rejection there is not good. So, that being said, if you're like longing around 120 and your stop loss is like 115, that's completely reasonable because you have a well-defined risk. Any trade idea I think is reasonable, even if it goes against certain fundamental things like dipping up and short and downtrend. As long as you manage it carefully, you can essentially try anything, but you want to have a good reason for it. You could say, even though the daily chart's weak on Solana, I believe in weekly uptrend. I think we're doing a weekly throwback to the bottom of this, middle of 2024 range. Fine. It's a defensible idea. But for me, there's just a big momentum loss here. And I'd be careful. I'd want to see another breakdown and maybe kind of a panic dip before I'd start to get interested, maybe like 90 or something. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, but that's a good question. Chad's bummed I missed most of the live. Well, you're here now, Ben, hoping to catch a live from the get-go. So lucky for you, every Tuesday morning, like around 10 a.m. Eastern, every Friday morning, like around 10 a.m. Eastern, right? I do this stream, and then Saturday, like around, 2 o'clock, like around this time. So you have the ability to show up next time. I always like start the video, I set it so it shows like upcoming so and you can prepare. So, but you're here now. So appreciate you, man. Let's see. Our XRP, I'll look at it again. I already did XRP. I mean, I like it. It's consolidating nicely off of the $2 range. I discussed this in my stream yesterday in that, I don't view 250 as an overhead trigger. It's still kind of a chop range in the middle. Such that there's not a clear mid-channel trigger here there's not a clear mid-channel trigger here on XRP. Matej, are you talking about my new book, Trading Journal, or Trading Wisdom? You said you're reading it a second time now. Which book? And if it's Trading Journal, man, I want to hear a review. Fill it out for me, brother. So XRP held nicely at $2. I mean, this is still one of the better looking charts. It's an uptrend. You have nice price distance to a rising MA200. I like the slope of the rising 200. I still like the chart. You want to be patient with it. It's still a good looking chart. Should it fail to hold like around $2, I think that would be something to be concerned about. Okay. Let's just scroll around here in the chat one more time. Maybe we'll wrap it up pretty soon, folks. If you have any burning questions, this is your opportunity. I'll be back again Tuesday. I have Bitcoin Live tomorrow night. I'll do a full market report there. But in the meantime, you've got me for the next, 5 or so minutes. So if you have any more questions, this will be your opportunity. It's a battle of time frames on Bitcoin where the MA50 is incredibly important. It's held, certainly since the bottom in December, really technically November, and then the confirmed bottom with the 18.5 break. And it's held since it was, tested in September 2023. It held here in 2024. And our first MA50 area test has held. It's still, to me, momentum-wise, seems like we're going to have a further test here of the MA50 and likely the prior range peak. What would probably be ideal from a momentum standpoint for Bitcoin would be a quick dip and recovery, a shock dip where you'd get something like this, where you get an overreaction vis-a-vis lower Bollinger dip in a rising environment, tagging the prior range, and acceleration from there. And so that would be ideal. And that's kind of going to be my best case. Sure, I'll look at Tesla. Yeah. I will look at Tesla. Matej, which book are you referring to? Let me know, man. So let's look at Tesla. All right. Couple nice little lower shadow candles here. Hammers. A hammer needs a couple things. You need a small real candle body and then a lower shadow at least 2 times the size of the real candle body. I go over candlestick theory, classical charting here in the Masterclass tutorial. Make sure you've watched it. And it's appearing, there's a bunch of things that you like about this. These are multiple hammer candles after a move down, multiple hammer candles at the lower Bollinger Band, right? So that's the right spot for it. And then we'll go to the weekly chart. We're already on the weekly chart, rather. So you have 2 weekly hammers. So that's impressive. This is actually a pretty good sign. It's suggestive of a mean reversion. It may just be to like a falling EMA 8. Oh, Matej says the Trading Journal. Thanks, man. That's awesome. You folks got to check out this book, the Trading Journal. Yeah, I think it's a really good book. I'm super proud of it. I'm just waiting for more reviews. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty decent setup here on Tesla, actually. Multiple hammer candles, and even the second one's an inside bar. So you have compression, and I think likely bounce here may just be to like an EMA 8 or somewhere around 300, but actually has a decent setup here for a little bit of a bounce. So what is Reef? I'll take a look at Reef. I'll do one more and I'm going to wrap it up. This is a nice little, we're getting 30 minutes. Reef USD. Qcoin. Usually there's decent history in Qcoin. This is terrible. Delete. Why are we playing this stuff, folks? What are we doing? Let's go to auto, or let's go to auto. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is what we're requesting. I mean, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I don't get it. Like, and I love you folks. Like, I want you to survive and stay in the game and keep trading. You can keep showing up. Like, this is a horrible chart. Why would you even be like looking at this? Reef looks terrible. I'm going to be on. And when, by the way, when it's a day Suarez, like when you folks ask me a question, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. I'm not here to like make you feel good and tell you it looks great. Like, this is terrible. This is a really bad chart. So, that's what I have to say about that. These are bad charts. Tau, Reef. We got to do better, folks. We need to play stronger charts. It's the only way to survive. Play strong charts, play uptrends, wait for them to dip, manage your risk. Those are just some bad requests. So this is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. I just published my 4th book, The Trading Journal. I'm incredibly proud of this book. Publishing books makes me feel good. By the way, my next book is a poker player's guide to trading. So it's going to be kind of a crossover between poker and trading. I already have an outline that actually I wrote the outline just over 2 years ago, and now I'm getting ready to work on it. Then the sci-fi book, and then the life wisdom book. But this is the Trading Journal now. It's my 4th book. Since I just published it, I'm making my 3rd book free, Trading Quotes. I've only got about the first 4 weeks in there. I'm going to do some more soon. But check out all my free stuff. Learn how to trade, watch the Masterclass tutorials. Check out Trading Journal on Amazon, along with all the rest of my books. They're all here. Just click on Cheds author, and you can see all my books. Check it out. Let me know if you like it, if you don't like it. And of course, Bitcoin Live twice a week, where I do the full market report every Wednesday and Sunday night. So, folks, thank you for hanging out and spending a little bit of your precious time with me on a Saturday. If I did not get to your question, I apologize. I will come back on Tuesday morning, and I will give it a try then. But until then, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. I hope you take care of yourself, have some fun, and I will talk to you soon. And Big Cheds out. Good question. Hold on. There's a good question. I got to address this. Carlos says, Cheds, I hear a lot of people saying TA is astrology for men. I don't agree, but would like to hear your take. I actually think fundamental analysis is astrology for men or women or whoever. Like the whole thing with fundamental analysis is the idea that like the price should be somewhere because of something, because, oh, the wheat crops are this, so this and that. It's like, no, like the market has already factored it in. Technical analysis is trend analysis. You're identifying a trend. And by doing that, you're able to position yourself with risk. Okay. You want to be long in an uptrend. You want to be short in a downtrend. You want to ride a trend. And what TA does is it teaches you to identify what the key momentum levels are in the chart such that it would reflect a weakening or a strengthening trend. So TA is a tool to identify a trend and to help you manage your risk, because you can define if your trading idea works or it doesn't work. People try to use TA for the wrong thing, and then they say it doesn't work. Like TA is not meant to predict where the price is going to be in 6 months. There's no point in that. All you can really do is observe the trend and watch for signs of weakening. People say it's astrology for men. Just that means you don't believe in the concept of a trend, right? If you believe in the concept of a trend, then TA works, because TA is identifying the trend and then taking advantage of a movement against that trend, okay? I think fundamental analysis is astrology. It's just the whole idea is, because BlackRock is buying BTC, or because, XRP has some Swift thing or whatever, the price is going to be. No, that's nonsense. That just doesn't mean anything. The FA is nonsense to me. Let the price guide you, ride the trend, use TA to manage your risk. And that's what I would say about that. All right, back to Church of Eight Wheels. Thank you, folks, and have an awesome day. Peace out.